For those of you considering a Mediterranean style day boat, but perhaps don't need the accommodation or don't want to spend as much money, this Ital 32 GT S for Stinger, I believe, this is a potential option for you. Keep watching and I'll explain. You know, move the boat from the harbour to your lake house and you can't be bothered trucking it, chopper it over the hills. Just go for it. I would love to see someone doing that. And this is what you see. Welcome to Manly, or in Sydney if you didn't already know that, and you're watching Dan's Boat Life. My name's Dan Jones. Subscribe if you haven't already. And so I believe some of you who want the speed, convenience and volume, space and sexiness that a Mediterranean style day boat provides, but you don't need the accommodation. That's an important one. If you don't need the accommodation, you can spend a lot less money. I'm talking like a third the price of what some of those med style day boats cost that you see on my channel, and get something like this. The power to weight ratio on something like this, we're running the twin 300s, we can go up to twin 400s, and it'll even take a single V12 600. It's incredible. We got 50 knots just with these twin 300s on this boat, 1,900 kg. So if you want to see it driving, that's a separate video. We'll do that at the end of this demonstration, and you can click on the link and see what you think. But this is cool, and I think what I've been left with from my 5 hours or so today playing around is this is one of the best ribs I've tested through chop. So I'll leave that point with you if that's important to you, of course. Now come on, let's, Liam, you go around this way. I'll show everyone the bow. It is stinking hot today, so just leave a like if you appreciate these videos, because I'm sweating my ass off. It's the middle of summer here in Sydney, so we're making it happen, but we're struggling a little bit because it is quite hot. So the design up here is quite cool. We have a bow roller, which exits below where I'm sitting just here. So that's for the anchor. The anchor operation is nice and neat. You can actually just see through here how that whole thing works. So we've got our Muir anchor windlass. Sorry, it's a Loughran's just there. We have a remote just there, but we can also control it from the helm, and it just goes out underneath the bow there. But we can also pick up moorings, and we have a second bow roller here and a cleat just there, and we have a more beefy cleat just there, and we've got some fairleads on either side. Also note that this flexi teak, not real teak, is going to be useful for boarding people on and off the front. If you're going into, you know, Watson's Bay or Manly and you need to pick some up from a dock, a fixed dock, that's really good. Particularly if you've got the bow thruster, because this is a long boat, you'll have a little bit of windage, not much because it's low, but I think a bow thruster is going to make your life a lot easier if you get something of this size. So underneath the typical sun lounge set up here, note the colour, by the way. What do you think about the colour? I think it's really cool. So leave a comment in the description below, tell me what you think. I think I've seen enough black boats now, and I like this army green, NATO green, let's call it NATO green, with emergency orange, I'm going to call it that. So we've got the beige cushions just here. Underneath me, lots of storage. We have one big storage hatch underneath us here, which will be great for all the safety gear. If you need easier access, we have a storage on either side here and here, and that might be better for bags and bits and pieces like that. And quite a deep storage underneath my feet just here. But come around and have a look at the all-important toilet. So I am going to open this one up and I'll step in. So I think you'd probably go backwards like this, because you've got to step on port and then you go down on starboard. And this is like somewhat of my stature at 5'7". I've got enough headroom. You have an opening, see window on either side, port and starboard, so you can vent this area. And when you're on the loo, it's actually just offset on one angle to port, so you actually do feel like you've got a lot of space in here. It's all light fiberglass. We've got flexi teak on the floor. It's drained. It's just simple. Nowhere to wash your hands, I note. So you're going to have to go and wash your hands at the back of the boat. But at least you've got the toilet, because now it's a true day boat, and the ladies will be happy to join, particularly on the colder days. Now, for those of you with helicopters, yes, they've thought of you. This is where you attach the straps and the quick release. So if you need to, move the boat from the harbour to your lake house and you can't be bothered trucking it, chopper it over the hills. Just go for it. I would love to see someone doing that. And if you are, can you call me? Because I'll come make a video of it. I think that'd be so cool. Come on and focus on the helm and we'll talk about what's going on. First observation, compared to the 28 GT, which we've also been filming today, this windscreen, it is a little bit lower. So yes, you might lose your hat. Just factor that in, put it away, turn your hat around. It is something that you're gonna have to think about. It does, for someone of my stature, provide me protection for my eyes and my face, but if I get up any higher, I might lose my hat. We've got this cool carbon finish just here. We've got facility for one large Furuno display on this one. We've got the Fusion. This is actually phone charging. These are really useful for day boats like this because they hold your phone in place because you do bounce around from time to time. We've got all our boat systems here, anchor, up and down, all important, and our bow thruster on port. Throttle just there, that's the new Mercury throttle system. Key and your emergency is just in the middle. I would recommend using that most of the time, not all the time, but it is something to factor in. And just let everyone see how much space we've got. So stand over there and look back at the helm. It's not an adjustable wheel, it's a fixed wheel, and you've got adjustable seats. So if you've got a huge belly, yeah, it's going to be a problem. I suspect if you have a boat like this, you're probably fit and muscular or skinny and good looking if you're a lady, because everyone's looking at you. so just factor that in. But how do I put this one down? I think I lift it. There we go. If you need to sit down, that's what it's like. That's actually quite comfortable, but if you've got short legs like me, you've got nowhere to put them. So I would do that at times and then transition to the standing for high speed, because I did really enjoy at the super fast speeds locking myself in like this. Specifically putting my feet on the footrest means I can push myself back into this, what is now a backrest, and I'm locked in. Now at this position, that's when the windscreen comes into its own, because I've actually lowered my line of sight just here, and it's much better. So actually bring the camera around and let's show everyone what I'm seeing. So she has a little bit of bow raise on initial acceleration, but what you do, you just give it some and then it'll settle down when you get to about that 23 knots. And this is what you see, and it's quite manageable. So that's an enjoyable experience. And then the passenger on the starboard side has the same setup as the skipper. In terms of space to move around, you feel those 32 feet now. You do have quite a lot of space. So if you're doing the whole raft up situation, stepping off, this grab handle here is going to be useful if you need to exit, and also just, reaching the side decks from a single person operation point of view is quite doable. Now, as some of you have already noticed, yes, we're missing some cushions. That's possibly a fault of the boat because they don't have leading edge bolt rope tracks. I would think about that. So some cushions have gone. I don't actually know when that happened, but that's something that happens. So this table here is in lunch mode, but it does, you may see a hinge here and some drop down leaves. That is not designed to increase your lunching space. That is actually designed to spin around, drop down, unfold the leaves, and it becomes a base for a beautiful bed here. So we can be in the sun, or we can deploy the sunshade, which just has two easy straps that go forward, and then everyone is protected all the way forward to the helm. And you could leave that up in a reasonable amount of wind and a sensible speed. I would not have that up at 50 knots, okay? So 23, yeah, it's probably gonna be okay. Just factor that in. And you probably do want the sunshade off when you're going fast and having fun, because your visibility and just the wind in your hair experience is probably what you're going for on a boat like this. That's what you get. Come around and let's just have a look at this little lunch spot here. So that pops up there. We've got a flat surface, single cold sink here. We've got the fridge just here and some more storage just under there. You can do a hot plate, an electric barbie. That would be off batteries, and then you're gonna need the shore power. Why is the stereo on? We must have turned that on. Okay, let's come back in and have a look at the seating area. I'll just sit down for some perspective. So you are going to get 6 people, no problems, around this table here and more. And remember, because it's a rib, people can sit on the sides and it's quite comfortable. We've got underneath here, we've got access into our battery switches. On the other side, we have the electric pump for the tubes. And underneath me just here, we've got the 3 batteries. So we're going to have the bow thruster, crank, and house batteries. We've also got the holding tank down there for the toilet, and you can evacuate the holding tank into the sea via a button in here. So that's doable. This is your ski pole just here. I've actually got a couple of speakers and a downlight overhead just here. And this is neat. Little gate just here, that's cool. So that makes life a lot easier. Come out the back and let's have a look at what we've got out here. We've got these extendable platforms on either side. So the hull finishes here. These look like bolt-on fiberglass jobs. So they extend. Just factor in when you're coming into a dock, you would prefer not to hit that. I guess this grab handle, it's a swim handle, might give you a little bit of protection, but try and factor that in when you're parking. I guess that's why you have the bow thruster. That's just some ventilation. We've got a drink holder there. We actually have phone charging in a very sensible spot just there. That's handy, so nobody has to go forward. We've got a shower just here, and we've got a 4-step telescopic swim ladder just there, and another grab handle to pull yourself up. A couple of decent cleats. Lights are all LED, all round white light up here, and I can see LED navigation lights on the side. So not much to it really. That's the whole idea about something like this. If you are a time poor person, if your kids want to have a bit of a sports car, or you want to have a bit of a sports car to run around the harbour on, just go and be social. And if you want a boat that doesn't really hurt the hip pocket on service and maintenance. So if you have perhaps had an inboard sterndrive boat before, or any inboard boat with a complex systems, something like this with a couple of outboards, we're just talking a couple of grand to service the thing. We're not talking 20 grand, that's in Australian dollars. So it is the style of boat. You could stick it on a swing mooring, you could have it in a marina berth, you could have it in a rack and stack because it's going to be light, easy to crane. So you can just use it when you want to use it and forget about it the rest of the time. So if you're that sort of person, if you have other things going on in life and you perhaps don't want to chuck $1 million at a med day boat, and something like this at maybe 1/3 or a fraction of that cost gives you almost the same experience without the overnighting, well then that's possibly when you're going to have a lot of value, or see a lot of value in something like this 32 GT. Anyway, what do you think? I want to see your comments. Let me know. Always get in there and communicate with me. Don't forget to subscribe and support the channel, guys. I do this for you. I'm independent. No one's funding me. So I really enjoy and appreciate your help. My name's Dan Jones. You've been watching Dan's Boat Life. If you want to see the test drive, that's coming up right now. Separate video to this. Click on the link on the screen right now. You're all legends.